Hi, this is Vicki, and I'm going to go over how to get started on an assignment for our texture exercise. This should be fairly easy for all of you to accomplish, and the goal here is to get some experience working with filters and adjustment layers and blending modes. So here's the assignment, and I'll have you read through this. I want to just point out just a couple of things here. You're going to choose a single word. My word is going to be peaceful. And then you're going to start with 3 images. You can take these pictures yourself. You can take them with your cell phone. You can take them with a camera. They should be textures and as opposed to objects or scenes. And what we'll do is we'll take the 3 images, whatever you create or find online, and you are allowed to use online stock images for this because you'll be creating something entirely different and new. Then we'll combine them into one and change them into just an abstract texture. But the goal is to convey the concept or emotion that the word that you have chosen. We do have a size that we want to set this at, and I'll show you how to do that. The size is 640 by 480 at 72 pixels per inch. Try to keep track of the different filters and effects that you use, as you'll want to provide that information in the discussion post. And then you'll use the type tool to add the word or the phrase. And then don't forget to add at least 2 layer styles to that type layer. Then you'll save your image as a JPEG, which will flatten it. So if you're just putting up a rough draft, you may want to save your Photoshop file as well. Then you will post a message on the discussion forum, which means you'll reply to the original, and you'll identify the original textures that you used. You can put thumbnails into your post, or if you got it offline, you can just include the URL. You'll talk about which blending modes, adjustment layers, and filters you used to create your texture. You'll identify the layer styles that you used on your type. You'll describe any challenges, and you'll explain why you chose the emotion or concept that you did. And then lastly, you want to just look at your finished product and explain what aspects of the texture that you created that help support the concept or emotion that you chose. In one other paragraph, you're going to explain the difference between texture and pattern. Okay, here's an example. Another one. And then some tips and suggestions. Make sure you can't easily identify any particular image at the end. Change the color if you need to by using hue saturation adjustment layers. You can crop and use only a portion of an image. You can shrink or expand your images. Use interesting fonts that help support the concept or emotion, and get as far away from the original images as possible visually. Be careful that you don't use easily identifiable objects. Do not make a collage. This is a texture, so we want everything to blend seamlessly together to make a single texture. And don't create a scene. So let's go over to Photoshop now and get started. You'll see I have already opened some textures in my Photoshop. I have this wall, wooden background, might be a floor. Looks like it has footprints, so it's probably a floor. I have this image of wings, feathers. I have a spider web. These are all stock images that I found online. A piece of lace, a brick wall background, and this embossed tin. Now I'm going to pick just 3 of these that are really different one from the other and try to combine them to create my concept of peaceful. I'll go ahead and start a new document by going File, New, and I don't want to, I'm going to go ahead and type in 640 for my width and 480 for my height. And I'm going to make it 72 pixels per inch. I'll leave everything else same, and I'll go ahead and create that. I'm going to zoom in. I can zoom in, or I can go up to View, Fit on Screen. That'll give me my whole size. So I think what I'll do here is I will start with a portion of this embossed tin. So what I'm going to do is use my crop tool, and, or actually I think I'll just make a selection. I'll use my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to click and drag. And then I'm going to switch over to my move tool, and I'm going to move that piece over here. I'm going to go ahead and resize it by going Command T to transform. And I'm going to have it fill this area. Okay, it's a little bit pixelated, but I do have it, I am zoomed in, and I'm going to change it a lot anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then I think I'll go, so this is kind of hard. I think I will go with something that is more soft. So I think I will go ahead and do the same thing with this wings image. Go ahead and crop it or select it. In fact, you know what I think I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do here is get rid of this black background. So I'm using my quick selection tool, and I'm painting over all the black, and I just want to delete that. And then I'll use my selection tool, and I'll just choose the wings and move them over to my new. Okay. And I'll just kind of position it. It's really large compared to the tile background, and that's actually kind of cool. That's all right. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I could resize it by going Command T, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as it is. So I have a soft texture, I have a hard texture, and I think I'll go with one other. I'm vacillating between the lace and the spider web. I think I'm going to go with the spider web. And I'm just going to move the entire thing over. And I am going to shrink this down. And because it's so big, I either have to find a corner, Or I can just go up here and shrink it down. Let's try 50%. That's still really large, so let's try 25%. I'm kind of looking for a corner. There we go, there's a corner. So it was really large compared to the other. I'm just going to kind of get that set up there, and then I'll hit return. So now I have 3 layers. I can, it's a good idea to go ahead and rename these. And it's a good idea at this point to go ahead and save my file. So I'm going to name this Peaceful with my last name. And I'm just going to save it on my desktop temporarily. Okay, I think I'll start from the bottom. Now, my idea, and we don't actually need the background layer. You could discard it at this point, or you could just turn the visibility off. You really don't need it. When I think of peaceful, I think of cool colors. So I'm going to try to stick to the cool colors of the spectrum, which would be green and blues. And I'm going to try to stay away from hot colors like reds and oranges. I'm going to stick to kind of horizontal lines rather than vertical or diagonal lines. And I'm going to try to stay away from hard edges. And I'm going to try to stick to more organic shapes. So all of those things contribute to, in my mind, to the word peaceful. So I'm going to just start playing around with these. I'm going to click on the feathers layer. Well, actually, I'll go to tile first. I'm going to switch this color-wise. I'm going to go ahead and apply a hue saturation layer over the tile. And I'm going to shift my colors to the cool end of the spectrum. Kind of going back and forth here. Okay, I like that. So I'm kind of getting that. I can turn off the visibility of the feathers. Kind of get that to the blue. I don't want to saturate it too much, but I'll try that. See what that does. Nope, don't like that. And I think I'll leave it right there. And now I think I'll try adding a filter. So I would be jotting these things down. Added a hue saturation, shifted my colors to cool, and I'm going to try to blur this out a little bit. So I think I might try, maybe I'm going to try a radial blur. And I can close this window. Oops. Let me move this aside so we can see what's going on. Can't close that window yet. I can try some different ideas here. Oops. And the reason, you know what, I'm going to cancel this. It's trying to blur the hue saturation, so I have to click back to the tile layer. Then I go up and choose my blur. Then we can kind of see what's going on. See if I start to blur this a little bit. I'm just going to keep it short right now. Oh, that was way too much. I cut that way back to like, I don't know. I just want to blur it out a little bit. I'll do 5%. Not liking that much, so I'm going to try one more. Nope. Let's try Gaussian blur. So I have those hard lines in there. So I'm just kind of playing around to see how I can maybe lose those. Don't even like that. So I'll try another one. And I'm just going through, and this is why this is such a great assignment. Let's try a surface blur. Now that I'm kind of starting to like. I want to have some of that texture. Left. Ooh, that's kind of cool. That I might use, because it starts to create a more organic shape with just this color in the background. So I'm going to leave that for now. I can always return to it. And now I'm going to layer the feathers over. Now, instead of, I could apply some more filters to the feathers. I'm going to make sure I click on the feathers layer. But now I'm going to just try playing with the blending mode. So I'm going to just see what how a couple of these react with the layer underneath. It's kind of crazy. And again, the nice thing about this assignment is that you're just getting a chance to play with all this stuff. Ooh, I kind of like that. Now you can do the blending mode, and then you can also change the opacity of that a little bit. So I kind of like that. I'm going to leave it. So far I've done a levels adjustment layer, I've applied a filter, I changed the blending mode, and now I'm going to go up to my third layer, spider web, and I'll see what happens if I just change the blending mode. Now I'm starting to get somewhere. It's still pretty identifiable. I do like this a lot. I'm going to try a couple more in this same family of blending modes. I'm getting something I like here. I'm just playing with these. Ooh, kind of like that. Nope. And I'm dropping the opacity down. Okay, so now I'm starting to get something I really like. And for me, it does have this peaceful feeling coming through. I could play with additional filters on my spider web. It's kind of fun to, let's see. Kind of fun to play with some of these different filters. And see what you get there. I'm just going through a couple of them. Maybe make it a little more painterly. Oops, oh, there we go. Can move this aside. And that's kind of making it more watery. So I'm going to leave that. So now I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I think I'm going to reduce the opacity of this just a little bit. Oh, actually, I don't want to do that because I want that blue color coming through. I'm going to call it good for now. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the top and add my type layer. Now I know I'm not going to want red, so I'm going to choose a color that is more along that peaceful color. I can even, sample something that's out here. Maybe my darkest blue. Kind of a blue-gray. I'm just kind of clicking around trying to get a good color that I like. Oh, I like that. So I'll set that as my text color. And then for the word peaceful, I'm probably going to want to go with something that is like a handwriting. And make it really big to begin with. Do you also know that you can type in? So if I wanted to make it larger than 72, I just type in my numbers. And I'm going to go ahead and start with my word. I can see that that is too big, so I'll go ahead and just drop it down. Let's just drop it down to 72 for now. And that's okay. I could try a couple more. Let's see. Sometimes you can see it if you've got it positioned in the right way. Let me just scroll down and see if I can find something else. Oh, that looks good. Okay. And then click away so I can see it. And now it's just not showing up very well yet, but I can move this somewhere else. And then I'm going to try a couple of layer styles. So I think I'll try a drop shadow, and I can move this so I can see what's happening there. And you can change all these things. I can even change the color of the drop shadow. Maybe just something that's a little more contrasty. And then just the spread and the size again. Okay, and before you leave here, you can, maybe I'll try putting a stroke around. Nope, I don't like that, so I uncheck that. I might try bevel and emboss. Now that's starting to, I might try an outer bevel. Nope, let's go back to, let's try emboss. That's starting to stand out a little bit. Adjust these. It's a little blurry to me. I'm just playing with things. And I can turn it off and then on. I kind of like it without the drop shadow. So maybe we'll try an outer glow. Seeing too much there. Now you click on the, make the check mark to apply it, and then if you want the context menu so that you can make changes, you have to click on the layer itself, the filter itself, or the layer style itself. So I have satin and bevel and emboss, and I can change things later if I don't like that. I can go back in. You can see that they're both here. So if I double click, I get the emboss screen again, and I can play with that a little bit. All right, let's zoom out and see how that looks. Oops, zoom in a little bit. There we go. So I have successfully transformed my 3 images into more of a texture. I stuck with some parameters that I set up at the very beginning of the assignment, and I've ended up with a texture that I believe conveys the word peaceful. So I'm ready to save this as a JPEG and upload it to my files and embed it into my discussion post. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.